Take away clocks, and modern civilization collapses faster than most people realize. Not because we lose schedules, because we lose coordination. Flights don't just get delayed. Air traffic becomes unsafe. Hospitals don't just get busy. Shift changes break. Shipping doesn't just slow down, it stops. And markets? Markets are basically timing machines. This is why the clock is one of the most powerful inventions in human history. It didn't just measure time, it made strangers behave like one organism. Before we get into it, if you like expert style one invention changed everything videos, hit like. And subscribe because this is a series. Today, the clock. Next, another invention that quietly built the modern world. Now here's the real question. Why did the clock matter more than the wheel in certain moments of history? Because the wheel moves things. The clock moves people. Together, let's prove it. A clock is not a gadget. A clock is a synchronization engine. If two people can agree on when, they can coordinate what. That sounds simple, but it's the difference between a village and an empire. In a small community, coordination is local. You see the sun, you hear the bell, you follow people. But when societies scale, you can't rely on the sky. The sky isn't precise, and precision is what turns effort into output. Because without precise time, meetings drift, work shifts overlap or disappear, deliveries miss each other, resources waste. You don't notice it at first, then it compounds. And compounding is how systems fail. So when timekeeping becomes accurate and shared, three big things unlock: large-scale labor, large-scale logistics, large-scale trust. That's the pattern. The clock doesn't create civilization alone. It creates the conditions that let civilization become industrial. Before accurate clocks, time was mostly local. Noon was when the sun was highest. That means every town had its own noon. Now think about what that breaks. If you try to run a network, trade, messages, trains, armies, local time is chaos. You can't schedule anything beyond your immediate area. So societies invented time signals, church bells, town criers, sundials. It worked until scale required precision. Because sundials fail in clouds, bells don't travel far. And roughly morning is not enough for high-volume systems. So the pressure builds. The bigger the society becomes, the more it needs time to become. Standardized, portable, accurate, and once you get that, history accelerates. People think the Industrial Revolution was about machines. Wrong. It was about coordination at scale. A factory is not just machines. It's hundreds of humans synchronized to power sources, materials, and outputs. Without accurate time, shift changes are sloppy. Machines sit idle, deliveries miss the window, and windows matter because steam engines cost fuel. If the system is idle, you burn money. So clocks become a weapon of efficiency. This is where time becomes control. Factory time trains human behavior. Arrive at X. Work until Y. Repeat. That turns irregular human life into predictable output. That predictability is what makes mass production possible. Not genius, not bravery. Boring, brutal synchronization. If you want one sentence, the clock made humans machine compatible. Now the most underrated moment, trains. Before trains, local time was annoying. After trains, local time was dangerous. Because trains share tracks. If one city is 5 minutes off, that's not awkward. That's a collision. So rail networks forced standard time. They needed timetables. They needed a universal reference. And once the railway standardized time, everything else followed. Markets, mail, work, school. This is a key insight. Sometimes an invention doesn't change society directly. It creates a dependency. And once the dependency exists, society reorganizes around it. Trains didn't just move people, they moved the entire culture into synchronized time. Now the empire part. This is the most expert reason the clock mattered. At sea, navigation used to be guesswork. Latitude was manageable, longitude was not. Without accurate timekeeping, you don't know how far east or west you are. And if you don't know that, you miss land, you hit reefs, you lose fleets. A marine chronometer changed everything. Here's the simple version. If you know the time at a reference location and compare it to local noon, you can calculate your position. That turned oceans from chaos into highways, and highways create empires. Reliable trade routes, reliable naval power, reliable colonization supply lines. The clock didn't just measure time, it measured location. That is insane leverage. Now modern power, finance. Markets are not just money. Markets are synchronized decisions. Prices move because people act within the same time windows. If time becomes unreliable, trading breaks. Settlement breaks, coordination breaks. Even before computers, timing mattered. Now it's everything, because modern finance is basically information plus timing plus trust. And clocks are trust machines. They allow contracts, deadlines, interest, payroll, insurance. If you want to understand civilization, follow what creates trust at scale. The clock is one of those things. It lets strangers align expectations. And aligned expectations become economies. Now the uncomfortable part. The clock is also control. Before clocks, life followed the sun. After clocks, life followed schedules, school bells, work shifts, military timing. The ability to command when is the ability to command behavior. Because if you control time, you control attention, movement, labor. This is why the clock is not neutral. It's a system. It can be used for freedom. Predictability enables growth. Or it can be used for compression. You become a unit in a schedule. So the clock didn't just help civilization scale. It taught civilization how to organize humans at massive scale. That's why it's quietly one of the most powerful inventions ever made. Now the alternate history part. Imagine accurate timekeeping arrives 300 years late. What changes? Factories develop slower because labor coordination is weaker. Railways become dangerous or delayed. Global shipping stays risky. Empires expand slower, and science slows down too. Because experiments require timing, astronomy requires timing, navigation requires timing, so the world becomes more local, less connected, less standardized. You might think that sounds peaceful, but it isn't. Because when trade is unreliable, war becomes the fastest way to get resources. So delaying clocks doesn't remove conflict. It changes the shape of it. It keeps humanity fragmented longer. And that's the final twist. Some inventions don't just speed progress. They reduce the cost of cooperation, and that might be the most valuable thing an invention can do. So if you ask me, what invention made modern civilization possible? Sometimes the answer is not the wheel. Not gunpowder, not electricity, it's the clock. Because the clock created synchronization. Synchronization created logistics. Logistics created scale. Scale created empires, industry, and modern life. If you enjoyed this expert breakdown, hit like. And subscribe for the next One Invention Changed Everything episode. Now I want your take. What invention do you think beats the clock? Printing? Compass? Concrete? Vaccines? Internet? Drop your pick in the comments. Best answers get turned into the next video.